Dear viewers, in the view of upcoming Civil Services Preliminary Examination, PT 2021 revision series has been started to make your preparation better. The program will be published at 9 a.m. daily. Hope this initiative of ours will be beneficial for you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am 𝐃𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢, and in this segment today we are going to talk about the most hot topic, that is AUKUS. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains papers. Let's begin with the topics of discussion that we are going to look at step by step. So this is a very rich segment. Kindly pay attention because you are going to get many brownie points for prelims as well as mains. So let's start with the news. A historic defense deal. Not outrightly spoken that it is a defense deal, but a marine pact has been signed between the US, Australia and the UK. And it has caused some problems for France. France is not happy about it. And we will talk about all of this in detail. Let's start with AUKUS. What is AUKUS? So AUKUS is a defense deal for the Pacific region, and it is between the Australia as well as the US and UK. So if we talk about what is basically this deal is a deal in order to provide nuclear submarines to Australia with the help of US technology. Now if we talk about the importance for these nuclear submarines, it is with respect to the region of course, Indo-Pacific. And this region is causing a lot of trouble when we talk about Chinese intrusion in the South China Sea, where it has its own claims under 9-line, and because of that, Australia is also thinking that we need to have this region intact for free and open transport, transparent war games to happen such as Malabar exercise. Basically, for security and trade purposes, this region is important. So, AUKUS for the next 18 months, the US and UK will help make Australia a nuclear submarine power in the Indo-Pacific region, and it will be with the help of nuclear propulsion technology. Many of you must have read it, but you must have been confused that this is a nuclear weapon. The submarines have nuclear weapon. They do not. They are called nuclear submarines because the energy through which they work, the energy which propels or keeps the submarine alive, is nuclear technology, and that is why it is a nuclear submarine. And it will be a new architecture of meetings. The AUKUS not only submarines but also new architecture of meetings and engagements between the three countries, that means US, UK and Australia. Also, there will be the application of applied artificial intelligence, quantum technologies and undersea capabilities. And as I told you, this is not powered by any nuclear weapons but conventional weapons only, and not nuclear weapons. Keep that in mind. Okay, so if we talk about nuclear submarines in the US are titled as SS, that is submarine, and N means nuclear, and they also have nuclear missiles, which is why this tag is known SSBN. Okay, ballistic missiles. So if we talk about the importance of nuclear technology for submarines, it is in the sense that the submarines which work through the conventional battery or fuel system, they need to be refueled every now and then, and the batteries may not be able to provide that much energy which the nuclear energy provides. So nuclear energy is provided with the help of uranium-235, and because nuclear technology in the 1940s, it was discovered that uranium-235, if we talk about general nuclear energy, if we bombard uranium-235 with neutrons, nuclear fission will take place, and it will be a chain reaction which will be able to continuously supply energy. That means more security in the region because the presence is longer, more stealth, more range, so many things are there. So since if we talk about the 1940s, since then only 6 nations have nuclear powered submarines. Which are these? Russia, UK, US, France and China. And one is our own country, India. So India had got its very first nuclear powered missile with nuclear powered submarine with the help of Russia in the year 1988 by the name of INS Chakra. Okay. Also, if we talk about the second one, it was also INS Chakra 2 in the year 2012. And now India is working to build its own nuclear submarines indigenously. So, can you tell me in the comment segment how many nuclear submarines does India have? Moving on. Now, let's talk about why France is upset. France is very upset about this deal. And it is pretty unsurprising why it is historic, in the sense that in 2016, what has happened? That Australia signed a contract with France to buy 12 attack class submarines from French shipbuilder Naval Group, and that was worth nearly $90 billion. So it's a mega deal which France has possibly lost. And it was reconfirmed by the Reuters that 2 weeks ago, Australia and France had a talk over it, and there was no mention of AUKUS to France. And that is why France is not happy with Australia, because there was a contract, and the contract was signed amongst a lot of fanfare in the year 2019. It is not only upset by Australia but also the US, because it is saying that allies don't get treated like that. When it comes to the Chinese presence in the Pacific region, China, Australia, US, UK, France all share the same sentiment that we need to keep in check Chinese presence. So that is something that we need to understand. And the defense deal and the foreign minister of Australia had reconfirmed the deal to France, and they are saying that how can Australia withdraw, and that is a very angry and very bitter. They are very angry and bitter about this breakup. The deal between France and Australia have been marked by many delays, and the first submarine was expected to be operational around 2034. The New York Times has also said that possibly a harsh and bitter legal proceeding, this is in the pipeline. The French have said the predecessor of Joe Biden, the current president of the US, the predecessor of Joe Biden, that means President Trump, former President Trump, it was expected of him to go on with a deal where an ally like France was not even consulted about the deal. But Joe Biden has done it, and they're very upset about it. Moving on, let's talk about the significance of the deal. First significance is the sensitivity of technology. The US has shared the sensitive technology of nuclear propulsion system only with the UK in 1958. Okay, only with one country, UK, in 1958. And now they are helping, UK and US are helping Australia to have their own nuclear powered submarines. And this is a step in the right direction when we talk about containing China. And actually, the technology is such that it provides a huge range, very unprecedented stealth to submarines. And because of that, the submarines will not only be capable of defense technology, but attack technology. That means the Australians, if they want to, with the help of this technology, they can move towards the South China Sea in an offensive manner. That is very important. This is good for India as well, because as we all know that India itself has nuclear powered submarines, and because of the sharing of technologies, India could be reminiscent of the fact that when nuclear isolation was there for India after the Pokhran test. There was a lot of support from the US back in the days, and because of that, India has also become a part of the QUAD, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. And that is good for India because in order to contain China, it is very important. Post-Afghanistan exit, because the world order is changing. The US might want to put their energies where they think are a future development and not a development of the past. Moving on, let's talk about the impacts on India. Now, India has welcomed this for containing China, the biggest threat to India, in the sense that India is already having its own quarrels over the land area. And India also has its own nuclear powered submarines, very capable of being able to protect its own geographical region with the help of its submarines. But the responsibilities, if they get shared, the problem of China could be nipped in the bud. First is that. Okay, moving on, if we talk about another impacts on another regions, such as on another grouping such as QUAD. First, that we need to understand that AUKUS is not going to substitute, it is not going to supersede, but complement QUAD. Why? Because there are 4 countries in QUAD: Japan, Australia, India, and the US. Japan, because of its aversion to nuclear technology, is not interested. And Australia, India, and US already are part of the QUAD. US and Australia becoming a part of the AUKUS, and with the help of the UK, India will have a lot to maneuver when we talk about sharing nuclear technology. It might happen. We never know. When these two, AUKUS and QUAD, start complementing each other, and India can also move forward with the help of technology, nuclear technology. So, new coalition signals a strong political resolve first by Washington, in the sense that if it is investing its sensitive technology in the region, that means it is ready for long-term commitment in the Pacific region. It's not going to invest just like that, especially right now post-Afghanistan exit. Transferring military nuclear propulsion technology even to its allies after the UK, we have the second country, that is Australia. And it's a long-term relationship. One thing that we should discuss here, I think, is the impact on France for India. So India and France, they share similar sentiments for China. That means to curb Chinese over-aggression. And France has a lot of interest in the Indo-Pacific region because it has its own territories here. And France was one of the countries which was very aware in the Far East region that there needs to be containment of China. So what can India do? India can take the help of France in procuring its own nuclear submarines. It can take the help of France, because unlike the US, France has already been in talks with Brazil to, of course, give them a help in nuclear technology. So India can do that. And roping in France would be of great importance, because India is a country which has a lot of importance in the world when it comes to Indo-Pacific and China. And with its acknowledgement of France, a little bit of the weight that the UK and Australia and US are having, the problems with France, it might be mitigated. Okay, let's move forward and talk about the impacts. First impact is strengthening deterrence against China. That's for sure. Now, Chinese under their own 9-line map have their own interests and claims in the South China Sea, which is the western arm of the Pacific region. Present, they have many choke points over there. So if they want to choke any point, they can, if they are not contained right now. Focus on a wide range of maritime coalition. So India also has a lot many options, not only QUAD, but AUKUS as well, to look forward. And of course, it is reiterating the importance of the aquatic and oceanic region. And QUAD vis-a-vis AUKUS, as I have already discussed. Atmanirbhar in the defense, in case, in future, India will get help from the nuclear propellant technology of the US. India can move in the right direction. India now has to play a big role because we are going to have our first in-person leader summit of QUAD in the month of September. So India can play its own cards in AUKUS. Moving on, if we talk about the conclusion, let's understand. A major thing, a major angle on which China can capitalize a lot is that Anglosphere. What is Anglosphere? Anglosphere is a group of countries which have English as their native language. So Australia, US and UK. Australia, US and UK. They have English as their native language. So it might get, if we talk about China, it might get some angles to exploit for its propaganda that it is a sort of neo-imperialism. But we also need to understand that New Zealand, which is a part of the Anglosphere, does not see any kind of threat from China. Similarly, Australia did not see any threat from China decades ago. In fact, it was in the year 2007 when Australia withdrew from Malabar exercise because it did not want to upset China. And in the year, historically, after 13 years, see, Australia joined the Malabar exercise with Japan, US and India. So you can see here this angle cannot be exploited. Again, important shift in Asian security politics. Since the 1970s, when Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed, it was only under the umbrella of US that nuclear technology could be shared, and any country independently could not have their own nuclear developments. But now US is coming forward, and this might be a chance for revamping UNSC as well. So now if we talk about the importance of this segment, it is very important. I hope you followed through. And if we talk about the mains based question, kindly look at it. Discuss the importance of AUKUS for the quadrilateral security dialogue in 250 words. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.